Reviews, episode 22. We got a show for you today. It is the Beatles Get Back. Um, I don't even know where to begin digesting everything that I saw. All I know is that if you are a Beatles fan, this is a must see. If you are not a Beatles fan, or if you don't even know who the Beatles are, which is quite amazing if you don't, you should watch it and get to know the minds behind the music. It was absolutely incredible. I'm stunned of everything that transpired on that documentary. Now it was from January 1969, and it is all the recordings and sessions that had to do with creating the Beatles' Let It Be album, um, which in my mind could be one of the best albums ever made. Yes, ever made. Just in the time that they took, which was quite amazing, the amount of songs that they recorded in that session is quite amazing. Just to watch Lennon and McCartney work together, and it's like they just look at each other and it's like they know what each other was thinking. Um, this was directed by Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings, you know, fame. It was utterly amazing of what transpired, and throughout history, you're being told and fed all this stuff about why the Beatles broke up, and a lot of people assume that Yoko Ono did it. Well, watch this. Watch this because you will see the light. Um, we're gonna place the blame squarely on George's shoulders. Um, Call it jealousy. I don't know, but I guess he felt that he wasn't getting the credit that he deserves in the Beatles' success. But I mean, when you look at the songs that Lennon and McCartney wrote, I mean, it's just staggering. I, I mean, it just the list goes on and on and on, and I swear they must have made like 100 songs during that 3 week period. It was just amazing. And in the first episode, the first part, when you see Lennon and McCartney just create stuff right there on the spot, it's it's nothing short of amazing. Like I keep using that same word over and over and over and over, but it is so true. Lennon and McCartney were the greatest songwriters ever in my book, and that documentary shows it for what they accomplish. And they were trying to prepare and do things. They wanted to create something new. And, the song Get Back, how I remember the first session, it was like the first week that they were there doing this documentary and filming. And Paul McCartney was just, they were waiting for John Lennon to come, and he was just playing around, you know, going over Get Back. And you see the beginning of the song creation. And, and it just took off from there. And they made one of the best Beatles songs made. Um, that album, I mean, it had so many timeless songs. I mean, obviously, Let It Be, um, and The Long and Winding Road. I mean, look, Uh, To see them work together was amazing, and um, how it all ended. They did that rooftop concert, and like the police were trying to get them to stop and everything because it was people were complaining. They said, but it worked. Like what they accomplished worked for that. It's hard to believe that that was their last public performance, and you know, going through the documentary, you see why, um, and it's just sad that that was it. And I don't know. I think the relationship between John and Paul gets stained through media. Hard to believe, huh? Through the media. And it wasn't so much their relationship as it was Paul and George's relationship. It clearly was a lot of jealousy on George's part because he wanted his due and he wasn't going to get it in with the Beatles. And it's unbelievable that that was the catalyst of the demise of the Beatles, and it's kind of sad. I mean, it put a toll on everyone. Um, you certainly get vibes from George in that documentary, and it's just bittersweet how such a great album could have been the last of it, you know. And we'll never know, what could have happened if John stayed alive. If it wasn't gunned down, unfortunately, which which was terrible. Yeah, I mean, that was the day that we knew the Beatles were gone. But the songs, you see them, rehearsing and performing. Um, it is, like I said, nothing short of amazing. It's definitely a must see. So if you are watching on YouTube at Rhode Island Broadcasting. You are also watching Facebook.com/RI Broadcasting, on Twitter at Broadcasting RI, and of course on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/RI underscore broadcasting, which we have a lot of viewers that do come on and show support, and I appreciate that. Um, so getting back to get back, a lot of the problems started with that song because, Paul was adamant about how he wanted it to be played, and George didn't like that. He was like, "Well, I can't play it like you," and that ended up having a riff, and it basically wasted a whole week of him being away from the band. If you watch it, you'll see why. Um, and it just, Paul was a genius, and I guess George couldn't live with that. He couldn't accept that he wasn't, more of a writing tool for the Beatles. And I mean, let's face it, the songs that they were generating and the songs that George was generating are different. George kind of liked, the same old, same old. That's what I got out of it. And Paul and John wanted to evolve and wanted to create, and they wanted to be the leaders of new sounds and stuff like that for music, and you could see that, and George just couldn't accept it. um, but by all means, you should watch this. If not for liking the Beatles, then just the pure historical, knowledge. This is history right here. It is history. When you watch this, you see all the detail. Everybody's in it. Linda, Yoko, you know, all the wives and girlfriends of the crew. Had Billy Preston in it, who, if you don't know who Billy Preston is, he was pretty big back then. And he played the keyboards for them on a lot of the music in the Let It Be album, and also on that rooftop on their last performance in public. Um, he was there. He was part of it. So for one album, Billy Preston was a Beatle, and they even mentioned that. It's like, well, we want Billy to be there so that way, oh, there's five of them? And they were supposed to play at a different concert venue, and that fell through, and then they couldn't come up with an alternative venue on short notice. And that's when they approached Paul and said, we know you want something big, and you want something, that's going to be memorable. Let's do it on top of the roof of the Apple building. And that's what they ended up doing, and it worked out for the best. And it was quite amazing. And like, they're playing up there, and people from all over are starting to walk over, and it's like, oh my God, what's going on? And hearing the music that nobody else has heard for the first time, and it's live playing in your street somewhere, and they're like, oh, trying to find out. And you know the camera crew that was down there on the streets was filming, for the Beatles, and they were talking to everybody and saying, oh, do you like it, do you buy the Beatles music, and blah blah blah, and the whole bit. And it turned out to be something special. I just cannot believe that it took this many years to release this. So the album comes out in 1970, and then here we are 51 years later. 51 years it took for this documentary to actually come out. And I believe it was due to Paul and Ringo. Um, well, obviously, it had to be between those two because, they were the only two left, as George and John are no longer with us. So I just wish it was sooner because, all this time passes and you have this perception of why they break up. And yeah, that might have been a part of it after a while because, look, George wanted to do a solo album, and that was his exit, and that caused the Beatles not to be together. So when he does that, then it's like, oh, of course, well, John wants to make some music, Paul wants to make some music. So they ended up thinking, oh, okay, well, he's going to do a solo album, so I'm going to do a solo album, and we'll just get back together. But that never happened. And a big part of our history was basically robbed of the Beatles because of jealousy. Really? That's so lame. And then when George his album doesn't do as much as, what the others do. Now that's that. That's that. Because John Lennon, what he accomplished as a solo artist in such a short period of time before he was killed. And of course, Paul McCartney and the Wings. That's, you know, Paul McCartney still had a band. He didn't. He didn't really go off on his own. He got a band with Linda and a bunch of others, and you know, he he wrote a lot of great music. So I like, again. I suggest you watch that, and it's, you know 95 across the board. You know, on every aspect of a documentary that you could ever have. Um, so this is definitely an A. And if I was giving it a number, 95.9 would probably be pretty good. Um, it just shows how vulnerable a band can be. How you doing, Faceless? Um, just discussing the Beatles' "Get Back." I appre- I appreciate you being here. That was like I appreciate that the new word, appreciate you here. There we go. So a prayer, and it's a it was sad that I see the demise of such greatness. And like I said, when you see Paul and John, they just look at each other and it's like they know what they're thinking, and they change something right in midstream, and they just create such great music. I mean, you just the words they choose, the notes, everything about what they do is to create something that is a work of art. And they approach every single song that way. Even when they were singing some cover songs in those rehearsals, and like, you just see them changing the song and making it sound like them. And it was just fantastic to see, fantastic to watch. So we'll watch it. 95.9, I would say. There's always room for improvement, whether it's some sound aspects, or you just wish there was just more in there. If this would have been like 20 parts, it still probably wouldn't have been enough for me. Um, but we got to see something that you know legends are made out of, and it was nothing short of spectacular. So, but that is "Get Back" by you know the Beatles. Um, there are all the recordings, and they tell you which session that was used for the album, and some of those rooftop performances, and they show those rooftop performances. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Um, the talent is, like I said, nothing short of amazing. Um, yeah, so watch it. Also, speaking of Faceless, if you go to Twitch, you can basically check out Faceless. So go to Twitch, give them a support. Video gamer, come in here to support. It's awesome. So Faceless _PT on Twitch. So check him out. Watch the games he plays. Faceless, if you're still there, just kind of jot down what you kind of play. So hopefully people go and check you out as well, because I appreciate you being here quite often actually. And I know I've been lacking getting to you. I haven't been on when you've been streaming lately, mostly because I've been ill, still am. But I'm trying my best to get on and support those that come out and support. So yeah, so Faceless does do Dead by Daylight, which is actually really fun to watch. Um, I I don't know if I could play it. I'd probably have a heart attack, but watching it is pretty cool, um, especially with all the different characters that you can choose to be a killer. Those are pretty neat, and there's lots of characters that you can use to be the survivors. Um, yeah, so that was Get Back. I do want to cover some other things. Some shows that you really should get to watch. I've been watching 4400. I've been watching Big Sky, and of course Hawkeye. Those three shows are fabulous. Big Sky was a big surprise to me. I did not expect that to be that great. It is one of the top 10 shows on TV. Hawkeye is also in there. But don't forget, coming in January should be Cobra Kai, which, if you're a Karate Kid fan, you need to watch Cobra Kai. So next week will be episode 23. Probably talk a little bit about Christmas classics and um, and what's ahead in 2022. So we're going to be looking at that. So we're going to be. I know I'm supposed to go see Spider-Man this week, and there may be a surprise episode. So it could be 2023 next week, or it could be 24. There could be a surprise episode this weekend. So I guess it's not a surprise if I'm telling you. So no surprise. Look for that on Saturday. I'm going to try to actually film from the theater lobby. So hopefully I get permission to do that. But I am going to be doing that. Also in 2 weeks, it'll be the year in review. So we will be talking about all the like not all the movies this year, but the best movies of the year. Um, like there weren't a whole lot of them that were great. We'll just say that. Um, like I was disappointed in a few movies that came out, but then there were some pleasant surprises, like Cherry. Where does that end up? Godzilla versus Kong. You know, these are movies. Ghostbusters Afterlife. Like where are they gonna fall? And probably I'll do a top 10, and where are they gonna fall in this year? So that's going to be something to look forward to. So the year in review will come after what's ahead in 2022. Oh, year in review after 2022. Little rhyme there. So, um, and again, like this isn't the only show that we air on Rhode Island Broadcasting. Um, you can be here tomorrow live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, where myself and Michelle do Pop Ascension. And we will have a special guest tomorrow, Matthew Fisher, who is going to be talking about his two shows, Boombasticast and 5 Minutes in Horror Haven, which also air on Rhode Island Broadcasting, and his movie that's going to be airing Saturday, you know, that that ought to be pretty good. So we're gonna have all of that for you tomorrow. Friday, of course, is Sports Unfolded, and that'll also be at 6 p.m. on Friday. It's always live, so you can jump in if you're a sports fan. Always have a lot to say, and so check those out. We have new shows. There's one starting tonight at 8 p.m. 7 p.m. Sorry, Ghost Sisters starts. So that is going to be pretty cool to see. And we have a new animated series that just started Monday, Smokytopia. So that's Rhode Island Broadcasting. If you need to see any of these ratings and stuff like that, you can always check it out on HavenShine.net. We have all of our movies that we have reviewed on there, and we got a lot more to do. We got a lot more to add. I'm always reviewing a movie. I see movies all week long, and they all have to get added. And eventually, we'll put up all these TV shows as well. Um, yeah, so that pretty much sums it up for this week. I hope to see you each and every time. Please, by all means, share, share, share. Throw us a subscription. Those always help. Some some likes and some follows on all of these other things. We're trying to get 10 subs. So we have 3 of the 10 already. So throw us a subscription. Throw us some follows. We have 271 followers right now. Trying to get that to 500. Hopefully I can get through this illness and start supporting all my group of people that I have on Twitch. I've just haven't been able to string together like a half an hour of time to be on, and it bothers me that I'm not there for them. But again, try to get on there and help us out if if you're a business that wants to sponsor the show, it can be worth your while. Let me tell you, we have a nice package deal that we will show the slide, the still ad, and read it off because that'll also be on our Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcast. And so let's get some support so that way we can make these shows even better, so that we can have a nice little background rather than a couple of doors. So, so, but we want one of those doors to open to something special. So, and hopefully each and every week we can bring that to you no matter what. So that is going to do it for the show today. And I hope to see you next time on HavenShine Reviews. Thank you so much. Have a great day.